So it is now a little after 10 o'clock. Michael is in St. Louis. He's still in St. Louis. Please, like I said, please, if you're going to spend any time in St. Louis, watch the True South episode so you know what restaurants to go to. Yes, Brazil, Costa Rica, Stanley Cup Game 7. You got to love it. All right, so it's after 10 o'clock. And that means one thing on a Monday. Time to bring in Bart. What's the mug and what's in it?
Coffee. Drink coffee. Do good.
Okay. All right. So there are a couple of things that we kind of need to discuss, but
yeah.
But we'll get it. We'll get into VAR down here. Let's start with the men's national team and what happened yesterday. Kind of got into it with Abe a little bit to start things off, where when you're in a competition, you don't want to push the pedal down to the floor immediately and have the possibility of screwing up your transmission by hitting fifth gear out of the blocks. What do you think of match number 1?
I reject your premise. Sorry.
Okay. All right.
This was the weakest team in the group.
True.
By far.
Yes.
The goal should be get as many points and goals in these first 2 games before heading into Uruguay.
Yes.
So I reject the premise that you don't want to, mess up your transmission. I think if you want to be hypercritical of this team, which I'm sorry, at 6 years into the Berhalter regime, we are allowed to be critical.
What?
This team struggled in the first half. They looked a little disconnected, made some bad choices in the final third, but they did score 2 goals in the first half. And then in the second half, it was a little bit better. You scored 0 goals. So, sometimes that is just how the sport works. Obviously, you should have scored more. That's not on the coach. That's on players need to put the ball in the back of the net. They had multiple opportunities to do so, failed to do so. The good thing is, yes, you won. You didn't give up any goals. You really didn't give up any chances. Bolivia is a not very good soccer team who played a game plan that was, I think we expected them to be a little bit more, not bunkered maybe, but like defensively minded, and they were not. You were able to create a lot of chances, but you also were still very sloppy in possession. Your possession stats, while you look at it and it's a decently high possession rate, the passing percentage was not fantastic, especially from their center backs, who made a lot of passing errors in the game. And you didn't finish the opportunities you really created for yourself, especially in that second half. So again, to be critical, should have been a higher, wider score line. But you did win. And I guess if you're under this impression that somehow you're not supposed to go all out for the games in a tournament, then sure, congratulations. You didn't show everything in a game against Bolivia, as if there's anything to hide 6 years into the Berhalter regime with pretty much the same players that you had at the 2022 World Cup.
Shots on the day.
I'm happy, but I'm tired of it. I'm sorry. I'm happy, but that premise bothers me, John. I'm really sorry.
That's all good. No, shots 20-6 for U.S. over Bolivia. Shots on target 8-3. Bolivian keeper 6 saves compared to 3 for Matt Turner. 7 corners on the day compared to 1. 18 fouls by Bolivia. They were determined to muck the thing up as best they could.
Well, they got yellow cards for them at least.
Yep, 18-7 in fouls, 1 offside each possession, 61% to 39. And as we are always want to do in these situations, it's time for you to vent your spleen about player ratings. And our buddy Paul Kennedy over at Soccer America. Matt Turner got a 5. He's just like, it sounds like, yeah, he's just there. He got a 5.
He was in position for the shots Bolivia took. Yeah.
he was standing where he was supposed to stand.
He was standing in the middle of the goal, which is where all their shots ended up. So.
Yes. So then you look at the back line that started out with a back 4 of Scally, Richards, Ream, and Anthony Robinson. Chris Richards got roughed up by Paul Kennedy, only got a 3. Scally and Ream got 5s, and Jedi got a 6. What do you think about that?
I don't know about a 3, but I did think Chris Richards had a bad day, especially when it comes to trying to pass the ball out of the back. And he made some weird defensive choices. Again, I thought the back line, especially the center back, struggled in possession. That's not great because you're going to face a team in Panama who is more competent than Bolivia, who will want to capitalize on those mistakes. And then you're going to play a team in Uruguay who all they do is force turnovers. That's their whole thing. So if you're already forcing turnovers against a Bolivia team that was playing soccer, apparently, I mean, it wasn't a very organized any sort of strategy from them. That's a problem. And they, again, you need to be critical of this team, even in a 2-0 win. It's okay to do that because there were some errors that we can't see against a Bolivia team. But again, they didn't give up any goals. And I think that's if you're looking at judging defensively, like they didn't give up any goals. And to be honest, even the shots they gave up were mostly 20, 25 yards out. So defensively, they all had a very good game.
Midfield, Tyler Adams started, got a 5. Weston McKennie got a 5. Gio Reyna got a 6. What say you?
I feel like Adams getting off at halftime is probably why he only got a 5. McKennie was up and down throughout the match. I think he struggled the most out of anyone, to the point where I wouldn't be shocked if he's not starting next game, but that's a discussion for later. I think it's weird to see Gio a little bit deeper than Wes. And I don't really understand why we keep trying to do that. I'm just a simple soccer watcher, but Gio Reyna to me is a guy who needs to be on the ball farther up the field to make magic happen in the attacking area, especially when against a team like a Bolivia that was not very good, and you were able to pick apart a lot. Getting Gio higher up the field hopefully could have, in my opinion, been a better way to find better passes in the final third. But yeah, Wes not a great game from him.
Up top, Tim Weah and Falarin Balogun got 7s. Christian Pulisic, because he is Christian Pulisic, got himself an 8.
Yeah. If you want to look at the biggest positive from this game, it's that Christian Pulisic was ready to play, a goal and an assist. He was a true threat throughout the entire match. And Bolivia, I mean, he was getting past Bolivian defenders almost any time he wanted to. So that is a positive. Hopefully if you're looking ahead to Panama, especially a team that may be a little bit higher pressing, hopefully Christian can kind of replicate this performance where he can beat one player and then he's in behind goal. That would be good. He had a good game.
Yeah. Then your subs, Yunus Musa got a 5, Ricardo Pepi got a 4, Johnny got a 5, Luca De La Torre and Brendan Aronson got incompletes just because of the sheer amount of minutes that they were involved.
I thought Yunus was decent. I think he had some of his kind of patented dribble the ball 20 yards to, instead of a line breaking pass, it's a line breaking dribble. And I thought Johnny was good. I think they get a 5 because they didn't play a whole half. Well, I guess Yunus did, but it was a short appearance for both of them. I thought they proved themselves to be effective against a team ranked 83rd in the world. So good for them.
Yes. And so that's where we are with the U.S. You've got the matchup on Thursday with Panama in the group right now, just because of you had to go to the third tiebreaker because Uruguay put 3 in.
Yeah.
And it is goal difference is the same, but number of goals scored is where the difference is, with El Loco and Uruguay having scored 3 in their matchup last night in front of 33,000 at Hard Rock. And the by the way goal at the very, very end of the match is what kept the goal difference at 2. And so right now we're on goals scored. And in group, you got to beat up on those other teams because this is looking like it's going to be one of those shootout groups where you're looking at the GF category here.
Well, and again, that is the negative from last night from the U.S. is that you only scored 2. Now, Uruguay took them, 80 minutes to really start breaking down Panama. I thought Panama looked really good for 80, 85 minutes, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
And then, Uruguay gets 2 goals at the late, and then Panama gets theirs. So, yes, the goal differential is the same. But, yeah, that is legitimately the biggest complaint you can have with the U.S. last night is you got to put the ball. I mean, I know it sounds harsh, right? But this is a tournament where at the international level, you do not get buckets and buckets of chances, and you have to finish them. So if you're Ricardo Pepi, you need to finish your chances. Flo Balogun had a couple in the first half that he probably should have scored. That is a legitimate criticism of this team, is you need to put the ball in the back of the net. You created tons of chances and good opportunities for your strikers, and not a lot of goals came out of it. You also created some opportunities that kind of piddled themselves away because y'all ran into each other in the box. So those are things that you do need to be critical of in a tournament like this, where, as you mentioned, goal differential, goals for, that will be a difference maker. Now, again, I don't think it matters if you finish first or second in this group wholeheartedly, because your prize of coming in first is playing Colombia, maybe. Like, sure. It's not like, to me, there's not an easier route. You're going to have to play both Brazil and Colombia. I mean, granted, if all things go according to plan, which they should. Yeah. But if, the goal should be to go win the group. The goal should not just be to advance. You're the host country. You're 6 years into a coach's regime. You've got most of the players returning from the 2022 World Cup. You need to start demanding more than just meeting expectations. And that's the problem with last night, of just being happy with the 2-0 win. And that sounds really, really harsh, and I understand that. But you need to start expecting more from this team, given all the continuity that they've built over, 2.5 years.
Jarrett Smith joining us here in the conversation in hour number 2. Jarrett, we've started stuff off discussing the USMNT, and Bart has been taking his gavel to the dais this morning, where the USMNT are concerned.
Yeah, it seemed like, and I caught the tail end of what Bart said, and I agree in that you created chances, but a similar tenor that I think we saw at the end of the regime here in Atlanta of the coaches can't go out there and finish for you, and I need you, world-class players, especially world-class, especially with the U.S. national team, maybe more so. I need you to go put ball in net, because that's going to matter here in the next few games, especially as you start playing some of these teams that don't give you as many chances. It might only be 2 or 3 really good chances in a game.
Mm-hmm. And you get that coming up soon with Panama. I guess I should ask Bart.
Yeah. Panama's going to be a pain in the ass to play. I feel like people are not giving, I don't want to say respect or credit enough.
Acknowledgement.
I feel that too many people are looking towards the third match.
Ooh.
And I'm not saying the players are, I'm not accusing them of that, or not accusing the staff of that, but right. I feel like people are, a lot of fans are looking towards the third match. Like, Panama is going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be like tackling a pillowcase full of bricks. Can you do it? Yeah. Are you going to enjoy it? No. Yeah. You're not going to. It's not going to be fun. It can be done.
Bart, have you ever tackled a pillowcase full of bricks?
I have not tackled a pillowcase full of bricks, so but I don't imagine it would be fun. I have tackling dummies, and that sometimes was not fun.
That's true.
But yeah, I mean, Jarrett, you're right. Like, that's kind of the point, is Panama is not going to give you a ton of opportunities. I mean, Uruguay did create 20 shots yesterday, scored 3 goals. So, hopefully if you can do something similar against Panama, you will get scoring opportunities. But again, you have to put the ball in the back of the net, because at the international level, maybe in the first 2 group games, and I'm not looking past Panama, I'm just looking at the reality, is that when our A team has played Panama recently, we thumped them. This is a slightly different Panama team with a coach that has them playing in a more organized and structured way that's not just defend. But the reality is, the last time these 2 teams played in the U.S. in a competitive game with our strongest lineup, it was 5-1. So you do need to go out there and put multiple balls in the back of the net. Maybe at the same time. I don't know if they'll let you do that. Figure out a way to do it.
If you're down by more than 2 with 10 to go, I think that's when Moneyball takes it.
Multi-ball. But you also, the question I try to ask myself after any match, and is this a replicable performance? And from the U.S. it is, right? You created chances. You stifled the opponent for the most part. So the question now is, okay, can you copy and paste this to the next game? You should be able to. The thing that you need to then do is improve upon a little bit of the passing out of the back. Again, not great. The passing numbers weren't fantastic, especially from the center backs. And then you need to put the ball go in net, right? Ball go in net. And that is still going to be the problem for this team.
Okay. Jared, anything else on your mind from what went down with the U.S. as they they won't look past Panama, but I think that a lot of fans are sitting there and looking at the matchup against El Loco and Uruguay as the decider and not paying attention to what's going to happen here on Thursday.
No, take care of Panama. You did the job the other night. It should have been a wider margin if you could finish in front of net with your world-class players. Tell them to put ball in net more consistently, and a lot of problems solve themselves by scoring goals.
Yes.
And yes, you're getting into good positions to do that. So you have to actually do that, and you quiet a lot of the discussions, because you know what the inverse to that is? It's watching Scotland create like 3 chances in an entire tournament.
Oh, Lord.
So it's a much better world to be living in where we're creating chances and not scoring. Yes, please put them away. I promise the inverse of not creating those chances is so much worse. But this will be Panama will be fun in a really mean way, and then Uruguay will too. Like whatever parts of the U.S. get out of this group is kind of going to be like 2/3 of a way through a Saw movie, where the last of the group is making it through. Maybe they're missing a finger or two. They've lost some blood. That's kind of what it's going to be like getting out of this group stage. It's just going to be rough and tumble for the U.S. and possibly for Uruguay as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So that'll be the fun part.
Yeah. It's look, again, you get 2 goals, you win 2-0, you don't give up a goal. I think that is the positive. You did not concede.
I think that was my favorite part of it, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is great. Like Jarrett, like we've watched teams multiple times put in great, create a lot of chances, but then you give up a stupid goal on the other end. Looking at you, Gonzalo Pineda. But you didn't do that. And that is a positive. Like that is the best part of this game, is you didn't give up a goal. And that is something that to credit Greg Berhalter and his team, defensively, they have been sound for as long as he has truly gotten his grip and identity on this team.
Okay, here we go. Reffing down here.
However,
and so what I'm going to do, once again, courtesy of our friends at 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app, is I'm going to go to the end of the discussion. And this is how it ended with our 180-degree turn in the cutting of the promo by Filip Dujic, plus a little bit of what Jason and Mike have to say after the fact. As, yes, I'm sharing the end of the story, but there's 5.5 minutes in the buildup to this ending that we've got to get into and discuss the other issues. So here is the end. Here is how Goldilocks got into the house. And this is when the Bears figured out that Goldilocks was still in the house and she was in bed number 3. So here's how it ended, and we'll go from there.
After review, there was no offside offense. However, prior to the goal, there was a foul committed by St. Louis. The final decision is direct free kick.
Wow!
All the way around, just ridiculous.
Wow!
All the way around.
Wow! But it was the start of the goal-scoring sequence, and that is absolutely within the VAR's purview.
The referee was right there on that, too. The referee was right there. He decided it was not a foul when Leuven went in for a tackle on Muyumba. That has been brought back. This referee crew and the VAR have dug themselves a hole that they didn't need to dig. They've created a problem that they didn't need to create. St. Louis is going to feel aggrieved. I understand it.
Sure.
When you see the replay, you can call the foul there. You can also not call the foul there like the referee did. But the offside portion of it That is not what VAR is here for. That is ridiculous that they get involved, and I'm sure there's probably going to be something buried in a release about they overreached again.
Abe and I were in the studio. We were almost on the floor when this happened because first of all, the official's microphone was designed to blow out your eardrums in the most violent way possible.
Yes.
When it started and they had to adjust. Second of all, that delivery is 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
However,
it's also the emphasis there is no offside. However,
and that's where I okay.
All right. Let's just start with the.
Where do we want to start?
Let's start with the play itself.
Where do you want to start?
Yeah, I guess Bart, where do you want to start with this?
So I think the issue is that here you do work from the goal backward through the attacking phase of play, right? I think that's where the VAR process goes. Is you start at the goal. Let's look at the action that created the goal. Okay, then we go to a foul that could have been a penalty kick, and then we go to the foul that initiated the attacking phase of play. So we'll start at that point because first off, Klaus is in an offside position, right? That, to me, is something that we've seen given, we just talked about this in the Netherlands-France game, I don't even know how long. 2-3 days ago, a week ago, maybe.
Right.
That was a player who was in the line of sight, close enough to a goalkeeper to affect the goalkeeper's ability to make a play on the ball. This offside call being overturned, to me, is an egregious misapplication of the laws of the game. Klaus is in an offside position, in my opinion, in a position that can interfere with the goalkeeper, which means he is gaining an advantage by being in an offside position.
And you don't have to be obstructing, like standing in front. You can be line of sight. You can be in the periphery. You can be off to an edge. This is Caden Clark and Atlanta United against San Jose.
Exactly. If you're in the periphery, and Klaus was very much in the periphery of Brad Guzan. Like, that is, to me, a no. Like, I don't know how that's debatable in this case.
Right.
If the idea that the deflection off of, I want to say Morales, somehow negates that, then I don't think you understand soccer, because Brad is, in my opinion, as a goalkeeper who played a decent amount of soccer as a goalkeeper.
Yep.
I am still very concerned about homeboy who's 2 feet in front of me on my left side when that shot is taken, which, by the way, the shot was going to Brad's left side, right?
Correct.
Then it gets deflected. Well, that deflection is not an intentional act. That would not have negated an offside had Klaus gotten the ball, in my opinion. That would have been an unintentional deflection by an opponent. Therefore, that does not, in my opinion, should not negate an offside. But just because it goes to the opposite side doesn't mean that the player, Klaus, is not still interfering with Brad. And I think that is a very bad application of the laws of the game. And I don't know who made that decision, because to me, that's not a clear and obvious error. The call of an offside was very clear to me that he is in an offside position and gain an advantage from being in that offside position, because he was, in my opinion, looking at this play, still affecting the goalkeeper's ability to save a ball. And yes, I understand it deflected went the other way. The initial shot was going to Brad's left. Klaus was on his left. Brad is trying to factor in this guy. Now, Brad is 39 years old. I don't think necessarily if Klaus isn't there that he somehow gets that deflection. I don't think any goalkeeper does. But you cannot make that assumption. You can't talk about that. You have to look at what we saw, and Klaus is in an offside position in a way that, into my opinion, very much interferes with Brad Guzan's ability to make a play on the ball.
The larger element in this, once again, is VAR re-refereeing a judgment call.
And I think that is legitimately the issue, because I think the offside thing, to me, I don't know how they were looking too hard at that. I think they checked it. And I did tweet out my theory that's making myself feel better about my life.
Yeah.
They said no offside because the attacking phase of play, they had a foul there, and there's no offside because how do we have an offside when there's no, everything else after that is canceled out. That's what I'm telling myself to make myself feel better. But you had the offside thing, which again, in my opinion, should have stood like he was offside. Then you have the foul in the box that, in my opinion, probably could have been called a penalty kick. I got to be honest with y'all. That looked pretty foul-ish to me.
It looked foul.
It looked very foul. And had they given that, I don't think we would have had a lot of room to argue, because that is the point of VAR. Because in that situation, the referee and the AR are not super concerned with the foul that's relatively off the ball, but still impacting the play as a whole, because who knows what happens if that player gets into the box, The real issue is you go back to that foul, the attacking phase of play, and as you mentioned, Dujic is right there to look at this. And he had judged it at the beginning that there was no foul.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, you're on a roll. Keep going.
But no, so all of a sudden you look at this. I mean, it was a foul. I think it's okay to say that was a foul. It should have been called a foul in the moment. So to me, the problem is that listen, I think the problem here is Philip Dujic is struggling at this level to referee the matches. And we're not talking about match control. We're talking about actual foul recognition. That is a foul you need to be calling, because it was very clear that Lewin, if he got the ball, it was conceptually he got the ball. He didn't really. He got a lot of Tristan Muyemba. Let's just put it that way. If he got the ball, it was more of a direction of the fact that he had already cleared out Muyemba.
Yeah.
It was a foul. It absolutely was a foul. And the fact that Dujic didn't call it in the moment, to me, is not even a VAR thing. That is a discerning thing.
Two wrongs don't make a right here. Where and I agree with you that having Yunus Marakchi, your VAR, dialing it all the way back to, at the end of the day, you're making the right call. But it's the VAR re-refereeing what happened on the field, which you can, like I said, you can take it either way. You can look at, the impact that was had on William. But the idea that VAR, and by the way, for those of you that may not remember Yunus Marakchi as a VAR, you might remember the 2021 ghost red card that Jake Mulroney got against, I think it was against Nashville. Jake Mulroney's red had Joe Dickerson on the field and had Yunus Marakchi as your VAR in that instance. Yeah. So the larger point, once again, for me, is you're having VAR re-refereeing a judgment call on the field. Yeah. Yes, it was the right call, but VAR is overstepping its bound over a clear and obvious error and making the right call. That to me is the larger issue here with the impact of what we're seeing.
Yes and no. I think this is where the on-field referee going to the monitor should be able to make these decisions. And I think in this situation, the foul on Muyemba, the foul by Lewin, because it starts the attacking phase of play.
Absolutely.
That's where you're allowed to go back to. And it very much is it directly creates that attacking phase of play, even as well. So I don't know if this was necessarily re-refereeing, because the ref got it wrong.
Right.
The ref on the field got it wrong. So I understand your concern about re-refereeing. I do. However, is it the job of VAR to go back? The job of VAR to go back to the start of the attacking phase of play and review possible clear and obvious errors on the field. A foul is a reviewable offense.
Okay. But was it a clear and obvious error?
Yes, absolutely.
So then can you explain off either way? You've explained that yes, the Muyumba foul is a foul. Could you, if you call a match a certain way, could you also look at that contact and go, yeah, okay, play on? Could you also look at that and call it either way? That's my larger point.
Well, play on would be in this situation not calling a foul.
Correct. So could you for a double negative, could you not call that as a foul? And I know that we've already called it a foul at the beginning of the phase of play, but could you also not call that as a foul?
Well, I mean, clearly DH didn't call it a foul.
Right. Okay. So that's
because he didn't think it was a foul.
And
but
so
upon review, he thought it was a foul.
But that's where I'm circling back to. That to me sounds like re-refereeing, where if Dujic lets it go, then it's gone and it's not a part of his.
Well, the question now, John, is did he let it go or did he miss the call?
Right. And so, okay. So if he let it go, it's one thing. If he missed the call, that's something else.
Yeah. Because letting it go or missing the call is is what we're looking at here.
But aren't you
letting it go could be more what we saw with the penalty kick foul, right? That's not really something I'm going to call. Like, I don't think that rises to the level of a clear and obvious error.
But if a ref lets it
go,
I'm
telling you, it's not that he let it go. In his opinion, he probably thought it wasn't a foul.
Okay.
So when he saw that and he said it's not a foul, and then you get video evidence that it is a foul, then the on-field referee can go, yep, I missed that. My bad.
Okay. All right. Like I said, this is why
it's not. This was not a I let it play on because it's not really a foul. It's not. It's not. What's his name telling me that Brooks Lennon dove in the box in Miami 3 years ago?
Boy,
this is I missed that. That was a foul. And in his defense too, yes, he was there to make the call. He was slightly blinded in his position by Lowen. He looked straight onto it. I think he thought that Lowen got the ball. And so again, when he got to see and saw that there was no contact on the ball and it was a foul on Muyumba, that's why the call was reversed.
Okay. See, and this is why I want to have these discussions with you to walk us through these, because to me, once again, this seems like another instance of re-refereeing everything and taking over a situation than it does.
It's not that. I'm not going to say that the VAR, didn't go back and say, hey, man, I think you missed this call. I think that's fair to say. My point is this wasn't I just let them play on. Or I didn't think there was much into it.
But is missing a call a clear and obvious error, though, or not acknowledging a call? Is not acknowledging a call or not acknowledging a foul, is that a clear and obvious error?
No, missing a call is.
Okay.
And that's my point, is I think I missed that. It's fine.
So then is it VAR's job to adjudicate a missed call because it wasn't called?
When it appears in the attacking phase of play, it's under their purview. Is it their job? Yes. Does it mean it always is going to happen or should happen? But that's the job of VAR.
Okay. Like I said, this
to
is
review the attacking phase of plays for clear and obvious errors. And to me, it's a pretty clear and obvious error that was a missed foul call.
No, like I said, this is why I like to have these discussions and have this here with you so we can walk through these and see what a referee's point of view is and see what these particular situations are for the 98th week in a row.
Again, my issue is Dujic has not been good as an official in matches. I mean that sincerely. We need referees. I'm not going to be too harsh on the guy, but like his level of foul recognition, his control over matches has been concerning in the matches we've seen of him.
True.
And I know we can more so than other match officials, right? What's his name on Saturday? No, Wednesday, Thursday, whenever we played DC. One of those days.
Wednesday, yeah.
What year is it, John?
Yeah, exactly.
That was an official who I think we have issues with on, as you joke, like he doesn't call many fouls, and when he does, it's a yellow card.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But he is consistent and still manages games in a relatively okay enough manner.
Oh, Pierre-Luc Lozère,
yeah. I would argue that he allows too many fouls to go. I think we could all look at that. But he is consistent in what he does, right? And he has his line, his bar that he sees, and it's just a very high threshold. Dujic is struggling with that. And
Dujic, for the record, is 31st in fouls called per match at 24.22.
Foul recognition doesn't necessarily mean that you're not calling fouls. It just means, are you recognizing when you should and shouldn't call fouls?
And he is,
and as we saw with Muyamba, he just missed some.
And 24th in yellows per match at 4.44.
Yeah.
And he's in the top page. He is 7th in yellow cards administered this season with 40. And he's in a tight race to go top 5 with folks like Ismir Pekmic and Rosendo Mendoza. So thanks to our friends at Who Scored for that, because Pro has decided not to post these numbers this year. And so we're having to go to other places. Who said that out loud? I guess that was me. David said going back to foul and build-up does negate having to review a possible penalty. So
right, and so that's the thing, is that if you go from finish to start of the attacking phase of play, you review the offside, you make your decision there, then you go back to the penalty kick foul, you make that decision there, then you go back to the foul and make your decision there. Because if that is adjudged to be a clear and obvious error, which it was, then everything else after that doesn't matter, which is why I'm kind of thinking that the offside thing, why he said there was no offside, because the attacking phase of play never happened at that point.
Yeah. So you're basically wiping out events as you go back to retrace your steps to get you to the first offense. And that's when you
right. And the reason is you have to do it that way. And I know that sounds backwards, is you need to make sure that you do have to work backwards, because was the goal a goal?
Yeah.
And my concern is clearly I'm telling myself this to make myself feel better.
Yeah.
My concern is clearly they saw what happened with the goal and said, yeah, it's a goal, which to me was not a clear and obvious error. I thought that the call in the field was a judgment call by a lot of people involved.
Right.
That to me was pretty legitimately called correctly.
Okay.
I don't if you're talking about, percentage wise, I think they got the call about 75-85% correct. And
so you're going goal, offside, obstruction.
Right. So the goal being scored by and then having that offside issue. Right. So the goal is fine. The offside, to me, again, he was offside.
Okay.
Then you're looking at the penalty kick call, which probably was the least important thing of all this. They probably just went, I don't know about that. Move on. And then they go back to the Muyamba foul.
Yeah. The line of sight issue and obstruction. And so, all right. So you're going goal, offside, obstruction, foul. That's where you're working backward.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if that's for sure how it should be done. I'm just saying that that's the way it is being done.
Okay.
Because to me, you should start at the attacking phase of play and build up, but whatever.
Okay. But like I said, this is why I like to have you in for these instances to break all this stuff down, to get a referee's perspective on what you're looking at and how we can call things either way, so we can be more aware in these situations, to sit here and say, okay, A builds back to B. In this case, it's this, it's this, and it's this. And that's why I like to do this.
I mean, the reality is the most important thing you're going to again, game-changing decisions, right? Yeah. Or events, right? Game-changing, match-altering, whatever.
Match-altering decisions. Sure, why not?
Thank you.
Yeah.
That is a goal, right? A goal is a match-altering event, right? Game-critical event, whatever what you want to call it.
Right.
So you have to review that first, and that's where that offside comes in. The next one is a penalty kick, right? So that's where we are looking at the please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. You are looking at, okay, well, what are the match critical events here? Mm-hmm. Goals, penalty kick, and then the start of the attacking phase of play.
Okay. So what are the plans leading up to Thursday? Are you going to be at Fido or are you going to be in-house?
So, well, let's see. I'll be at Fido Wednesday night. I'll be there probably starting around 2:00, honestly, for the AO Night Before party featuring some guy named Roger Bennett. You may have heard of him.
And
another dude named Dax McCarty. So you may have heard of those two. They'll be at Fido for a Q&A session, just a quick one, only about 45 minutes long, in between the two Copa America games.
Okay.
And then Thursday is a tailgate for any and all Atlanta soccer fans. You do not have to support the U.S. If you do show up in non-U.S. colors, I can't promise you won't get face paint or a tattoo slapped on you. But that'll start at noon. If you are somehow off work that day and want to come join us, we'll be going from noon to game time and the supporters lot. And then the game is at 6.
Correct.
It's going to be a nervy one. If you haven't bought tickets yet, there are tickets available in the 300 level section and otherwhere, depending on what your price point is. I understand. We can talk about that later if you want, or we can talk about it now. I understand that Copa America and CONMEBOL, their ticketing processes and practices were not great. I get it. But if you want to come and watch the U.S. men's national team for the first time in Atlanta in 9 years, you have that opportunity.
So what are you up to on Friday?
Well, I'll either be dead or hungover.
So let's say
probably hungover.
All right. So
I'm doing all right this morning, to be honest.
Yes.
Also, we'll see if I have a voice.
So what are you up to between, say, 10 and 10:30 Friday morning?
I don't think I have anything other than, again, finding my voice, because I'm banking on the fact that it will be non-existent after Thursday night. But I will be free.
Okay.
Let's just put it that way.
Okay. So then here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab my notebook that has all of my guests and my possibilities.
All right.
So what I'm going to do, and you've got to be done by 10:30 because Johnny Mercado is going to be coming in from Apotheos because of their big matchup with App FC. So after the Friday free kick with Beyond Goals mentoring, Bart is pinned in at 10 o'clock on Friday to discuss, if he has a voice, what happened with USA and Panama down at Mercedes-Benz. And after the fact, we can discuss ticketing and capacities and what happened and the growing pains and the administration of same, because we don't know how full the building is going to be. And if it's not full, then we can discuss the ticketing aspects of it on Friday as a part of USA and Panama discussions. How about that?
Sounds great.
All right. So
we can also talk about that after the whole tournament's over, because it's been a problem.
True. So we can put a Post-it note in it involving the matches at Mercedes-Benz, and we'll discuss it once the whole Copa is over as well. So, my friend, as always, it's great to chop it up with you and get the referee's perspective and get your perspectives on the USMNT. What is the latest with the Soccer for USPOD, by the way?
We will record after group stage is over.
Okay.
And so that'll be next week.
Sure.
Tight turnaround for me because I am flying out to Salt Lake City for that next
week. Right.
Week.
You've got going to Rio Tinto.
I am going to Rio Tinto. If anyone else is going, would love to see you. Hopefully the U.S. is playing a match at a time. I think if they win the group, they're playing at a time before that game kicks off in Salt Lake City. We'll see. So, but that'll be the plan. We'll record an episode about the group stage and all that. Hopefully it includes mostly positive things. And again, I think Jarrett and I I think would agree on this, is that the goal for this group stage is to not have to play for anything against Uruguay.
Correct.
And if you win, you lose, you draw, who cares? Ideally, though, you're racking up enough points and goals in these first two matches that, hey, a draw gets you the win in the group. And that would be really cool to win your group again while playing at home in Copa America. So hopefully. So that'll be that's the plan. Next, let's see, Tuesday we'll record.
Okay. All right. So next Tuesday you're going to record, or however many Tuesdays from now you're going to record, but you'll be back. You'll be back with something resembling a voice in the 10 o'clock half hour on Friday. We can do some post on USA and Panama and talk ticketing and Mercedes-Benz and partying. Remember, throat coat tea from traditional.
I know. I've yeah, I got that, and I've got my Ricola cough drops as well in stadium bag.
Excellent, well done.
Yeah.
So you got to take care of the pipes because you got a quick turn from the match on Thursday coming on Friday morning. Be well, my friend. Drink coffee, do good, and we will see you on Friday. Actually, we'll see you Thursday in person, and we'll see you Friday morning here on the show.
You have a wonderful birthday. Enjoy celebrating 40.